Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really big shift in what it means to be successful, both at work and honestly in life. It's this move away from just what you know to how you handle what you know, and maybe more importantly, how you handle everyone else. So let's start with this question right here, because it really gets to the heart of what we're talking about. It's a question that leaders, companies, and probably even you are starting to wrestle with. Because the answer? Well, it's turning out to be more important than ever. All right, so to really get where we're going, we've got to take a quick look back at where we've been. For a very, very long time, the business world had this super clear, almost rigid idea of what was most important for getting ahead. For decades, it was all about the hard skills, pure technical know-how, the stuff you can prove, measure, and stick on a resume. But the tide is seriously turning. We're now waking up to the huge and frankly underrated importance of so-called soft skills, working well with others, managing with a bit of tact, and actually leading people. Think about it. For so long, a high IQ was basically seen as the golden ticket to success. But in our world today, which is so interconnected, there's a new benchmark for talent and potential that's really starting to steal the spotlight. And the impact of this one quality is just staggering. We're talking about something that doesn't just make you better at your job. It actually makes you more likely to be powerful, to be successful, and to have more fulfilling relationships in every part of your life. It's being called the single most important skill for this century. So what is it? It's emotional intelligence, or EQ for short. The definition seems simple, right? It's your ability to understand and manage your own emotions, and at the same time, recognize and respond to the emotions of people around you. Simple idea, but wow, it is a total game changer. Okay, so what is EQ actually made of? It's not just some vague feeling. Daniel Goleman, the guy who really brought this whole concept into the mainstream back in the mid-90s, he broke it all down for us into its key parts. So Goleman pointed to these 5 core elements, and you can see how they build on each other. It all has to start with you, with self-awareness, just knowing what you're feeling and why. From there, you can get to self-regulation, which is managing those feelings. Once you can do that, you tap into your inner motivation. And only then can you really turn your focus outward, first with empathy to understand others, and finally, using social skills to actually build great relationships. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds a little soft, right? But this is not just some feel-good theory. EQ has a real, measurable, and pretty powerful impact on the bottom line. The numbers are actually wild. For example, when American Express started training their financial advisors in emotional intelligence, their sales shot up by 20%. I mean, that is a huge jump compared to the company average. And it gets even better. A massive 10-year study found that people management, which is a huge part of EQ, was 3 times more important for productivity than R&D. Let that sink in. How you lead your team matters more than the tech you're developing. But this is the number that really blew my mind. That same study, it found that people management was 6 times more important for a company's profitability than its business strategy. So your genius plan is basically worthless if you can't lead the people who are supposed to make it happen. Okay, so at this point, you might still be thinking, this just sounds like soft skills with a fancy new name. And you know what? You wouldn't be the first person to think that. When this idea first came out, there was a lot of skepticism. A lot of people argued that EQ sounded, quote, suspiciously like the old speak dressed up in new clothing, but there is a really, really crucial difference that sets it completely apart. And here it is. The consultant Tim Sparrow pointed out that the old soft skills training was all about looking outward, on interpersonal intelligence, how you deal with other people. But emotional intelligence, it adds this vital inward piece, intrapersonal intelligence. It all has to start with knowing yourself first. And honestly, this is the main takeaway. You just can't be truly effective with other people if you don't even understand yourself. That self-awareness, it's the foundation that everything else is built on. Which leaves us with this final and pretty powerful question to think about. It is the absolute bedrock of emotional intelligence. And maybe, just maybe, the most important skill any of us can work on for success in this new era. So, how well do you really know yourself?